Rebel Yell Podcast. I almost got caught in a yawn there. Oh, my apologies. Rebel Yell Podcast, Triple Live High School Sports Network, presented by Edgar Snyder and Associates. Go with Edgar, helping injured people since 1982. We're at the midway point of this spring sports season, high school baseball, high school softball. 3 weeks left until the fun begins. The fun begins. The WPIAL playoffs, baseball and softball coming to you in mid-May. But a lot of stuff to be settled between now and then. So let us begin as we get you updated. Again, now this look at the standings and everything becomes a little more important. More games are being played. And again, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the regular season, midway point right now. We'll start in WPIAL softball, where in Class 6A, Hempfield alone on top. They have a one-game lead over Seneca Valley. Those two teams combined 15-2, really starting to separate themselves. Cannon McMillan was in that grouping, but rough week for the Big Macs. They lost first to Hempfield, then they lost to Seneca Valley, or the other way around. And then to wrap up the week, they lose a heartbreaker, giving up 4 runs in the 7th inning to lose 7-6 to North Allegheny. So the Big Macs have fallen back in the pack. They're now at 4-3. Norwin sits at 3-1. North Allegheny, after that big come-from-behind victory, is 3-4. Top 6 make it to the 6A playoffs. All right, in Class 5A, Section 1, Shaler alone on top, and they are creating a bit of a gap between them and the rest of the pack. By the way, 6A, it's not baseball, one game to watch in Class 6A this week is Cannon McMillan trying to bounce back, end that 3-game losing streak. Tough test on Monday as they head to North Huntington to take on the Knights. All right, now 5A, mentioned Shaler. Up 2 games on Plum and 3 games on Fox Chapel and North Hills. Shaler visits Plum this week. That game is on Monday. Plum coming off a big victory over Fox Chapel to put the Mustangs alone in second place in Section 1. Section 2, Armstrong and Penn Trafford a 1-game lead over Kiski area. The Riverhawks 7-1, the Warriors 5-1, and then the Cavaliers are 6-2. And this is a big week for Kiski area. They're 9-2 overall. They are hosting Armstrong on Monday. They visit Penn Trafford on Wednesday. So we get to find out a little more about the Cavaliers. Can they earn a split? Can they avoid a sweep or being swept? Or can they pull it out? If they do pull out 2 victories over the Hawks and Warriors, they will be locked in a tie for first place in Section 2. Section 3 of Class 5A, West Allegheny pounding Montour in their first meeting. So the Indians are all alone in first place in Section 3 at 4-0. Montour a game back now at 4-1. And then a 2-game gap. South Fayette, Moon, Upper St. Clair, all with 3 losses in a battle for third place. Moon visits Upper St. Clair on Thursday. A big matchup in Section 3. Section 4 of Class 5A. Baldwin on top, 7-0, 1 game up on Thomas Jefferson. Trinity 2 back, and right now, 4th place belongs to Collinsville. Thomas Jefferson at Baldwin. That game was supposed to be a week and a half ago, was postponed. It will take place on Tuesday with first place on the line. Baldwin wins. They will be up 2 on the rest of the pack in Section 4 of Class 5A. Section 1, as we move to Class 4A now. Indiana on top at 6-0. They are 1 game up on Derry. The Trojans are 4-1, 2 games back. Knock at 5-2. Greensburg-Salem at 3-2. Indiana will host Derry. Top 2 teams meeting in a Monday showdown. A lot of big games on Monday. of this upcoming week. Section 2 of Class 4A, Elizabeth Forward, lots of breathing room as they beat West Mifflin this week, and then West Mifflin being stunned at home by Bell Vernon. So the Warriors are 2 up on the Titans. They're 3 up on both Laurel Highlands and Uniontown. West Mifflin trying to bounce back Monday after losing to Bell Vernon. They will visit Laurel Highlands on Monday. All right, Section 2, can't read my writing. Section 3, I should say, of Class 4A now. North Catholic and Blackhawk tied atop the section. They're both 9-1 combined. Overall, 8-0 combined in the section. We still got to wait for the Cougars and Trojans to square off, but a couple big games for North Catholic coming up against defending champion Hampton. The Talbots are 3 back in the loss column. On Tuesday, North Catholic will host Hampton, and then on Friday, the Trojans will visit the Talbots. Also, coming up on Wednesday, Blackhawk is visiting Beaver. The Bobcats are 2-2, so 2 games back in the loss column in Section 3 of Class 4A. Section 1, Class 3A, Mount Pleasant has opened up a 2-game lead. The Vikings in first place, 2 up on York, 2 up on Burrell, and 3 up on Deer Lakes and Ligonier Valley. Mount Pleasant on Monday will visit Burrell. Section 2, Mohawk on top alone at 3-0. They are 1 up in the loss column on Avonworth and Beaver Falls, 2 up in the loss column on everybody else. Hopewell at 1-2 will visit Avonworth on Monday as the Antelopes try to secure their spot in second place in Section 2 of Class 3A. South Park alone on top in Section 3. The Eagles are 5-0, 1 game up in the loss column on McGuffey, 2 up on both Keystone Oaks and Charleroi. Speaking of McGuffey, they will visit South Park on Friday. The Highlanders and the Eagles, top 2 teams, squaring off to wrap up this upcoming week. Class 2A, Section 1, the big news, the long win streak by Neshannock is no more, halted at 57 in a row, or 58 in a row. They fell to Shenango. They were up 5-2 in that game. Wildcats come back and win 6-5. First, historic. First loss in a couple of years. First loss to a WPIAL team since, was it 2021? I mean, that's how dominant the Lancers have been over the last 4 years plus. But knocked off by Shenango. Those 2 teams will meet again at Neshannock on Friday. So that'll be a much anticipated matchup. Shenango right now 5-1, Neshannock 4-1. Also, don't forget about Laurel. The Spartans also tied for the top spot at 4-1. Section 2 of 2A, South Allegheny alone on top. They're 1 up in the loss column on Apollo Ridge and Northgate, 2 up on everybody else. Apollo Ridge, trying to hang on to second place, will visit Brentwood on Friday in a big game in Section 2 of 2A. Section 3, Chartiers Houston on top, 1 game up in the loss column on Burgettstown and Seton LaSalle. Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, 2 games back in the loss column. Chartiers Houston visits Burgettstown on Wednesday with first place at stake in that one. Section 4, Bentworth and Washington deadlocked at 3-0, and they both have a 2-game lead over the rest of the pack. One of the teams in the rest of the pack fighting for a playoff spot is Waynesburg Central. The Raiders will host Washington coming up on Wednesday as the Little Prexies try to maintain pace with the Bearcats. Those 2 teams will meet twice in the final 2 weeks of the regular season. All right, let's go to Class A now. Section 1, the Union Scullies are on top at 4-0. They're 1 up in the loss column on Sewickley Academy, 2 up on both, Southside and Bishop Canevin, the squad. He's got me all excited. The Union will visit Southside on Wednesday. Section 2, Jefferson Morgan knocks off Carmichael, so that created a three-way tie atop Section 2. Jefferson Morgan and West Green both 4-1. Carmichael's is 3-1. Carmichael's visits West Green on Friday. And finally, Section 3, two undefeated teams atop the section. Jeanette 4-0, Sarah Catholic 2-0. The Eagles and Jayhawks meet on Monday at Jeanette. Ellis School one back in the loss column, but they've only played one section game and two games overall. So there you go. That's the latest as far as WPIAL softball is concerned as we are at the midway point. Let's switch gears now. Head over to the baseball diamond in Class 6A. Alone in first place in Section 1, Central Catholic. They have won 5 of their 6 section games, coming off a section series sweep of North Hills this past week. They will be challenged this week. They have 3 games with North Allegheny. The Indians losing 2 of 3 to Butler in their first section series. Tigers are 1-2, 4-4 overall. That will be North Allegheny at Central Catholic. They play at the off-season facility in Russellton. Games up there Monday and Thursday. Tuesday, they will play prime time at North Allegheny. In Section 2, Canna McMillan sweeps Norwin after Norwin had swept Hempfield. So that leaves the Big Macs all alone in first place. 2 games up in the loss column on Mount Lebanon. 3 up on both Norwin and Woodland Hills. Blue Devils played their first section series this week, lost 2 of 3 to Hempfield. So now big challenge for Pat McCloskey's Blue Devils. They will visit Canna McMillan. Games in Cannonsburg on Monday and Thursday, at Mount Lebanon on the turf on Tuesday. All right, 5A now. Section 1, Latrobe, Plum, Franklin Regional, all even in the loss column. Wildcats are 5-1. Both the Mustangs and the Panthers are 3-1. Penn Trafford a game back at 4-2. Franklin Regional and Latrobe square off this upcoming week. They'll play at Latrobe on Monday, at Franklin Regional Tuesday. Just read, by the way, historic Haymaker Park in Murraysville will be soon getting turf, I believe. So that's always loved broadcasting from that facility because it has a press box. Easy enough. Section 2, boy, you talk about super tight now. You have South Fayette 4-2, Bethel Park 4-2. Those 2 teams split this past week. Moon, Peters Township, and Upper St. Clair all 2-2. So technically, it's a 5-way tie for first place in Section 2. And then just only 2 games back, Chartiers Valley and Trinity are 2-4. So it's so tight, we'll just give you the complete rundown this week, the section series. Moon at Chartiers Valley on Monday, hosting the Colts on Tuesday. Peters Township at Bethel Park Monday, host the Blackhawks on Tuesday. And then South Fayette at Upper St. Clair on Monday, hosting the Panthers on Tuesday. Section 3 of Class 5A, Pine Richland and West Allegheny deadlocked. The Rams are 4-0. The Indians have played one less section series. They are 2-0. And then a 2-game gap. Newcastle sits at 2-2, currently in third place. Top 2 teams getting ready to square off. It'll be Pine Richland at West Allegheny Monday, Indians at Rams on Tuesday. Same situation in Section 4, where 2 of the top 3 teams will meet. Montour alone in first place at 4-0. Thomas Jefferson and Baldwin both 3-1. Gateway is 2-2. This week, Montour and Thomas Jefferson square off in the section series at Burkett on Monday, at TJ on Tuesday. All right, the Class 4A now. In Section 1, Blackhawk has opened up a 2-game lead. They're 2 up in the loss column on both Hopewell, well, more than both, Hopewell, Beaver, and Ambridge. All are 2 games behind the 4-0 Blackhawk Cougars. Blackhawk, their section series this week at Beaver Monday, at Chippewa on Tuesday, Chippewa Park. In Section 2 of Class 4A, West Mifflin and Elizabeth Forward deadlocked. They're both 4-0, 1 game up on Bell Vernon in the loss column, and then Ringgold sits in 4th place at 3-3. Elizabeth Forward, the top 4 teams meet this week. Elizabeth Forward at Bell Vernon on Monday, at EF Tuesday. West Mifflin hosting Ringgold on Monday in Monongahela on Tuesday. Finally, Section 3 of Class 4A, top 3 teams are Indiana, Knock, and Valley. Little Indians are 4-0, the Knights are 2-0, and the Vikings are 3-1 this week. Valley will take on Knock. They meet up in Butler County on Monday, in the AK Valley on Tuesday. All right, let's go to 3A now. Section 1, 3-way tie for first place. Elwood City 3-1. Mohawk and Quaker Valley are both 2-1. Those two have a game to make up, the Quakers and the Warriors. Coming up this week, Quaker Valley will be at Elwood City, Helling Park on Monday, and then the Quakers will host the Wolverines on Tuesday. Section 2, Avonworth and South Park, they don't meet till the final week of the final section series in Section 2. So both still have some work to do before their big showdown, but right now they sit each at 4-0, 2 up on the closest team to them. That's Steel Valley. The Ironmen are 2-2. Steel Valley at South Park Monday. Westfield hosting the Eagles on Tuesday for the Ironmen this week. Section 3 of Class 3A, on top alone is Freeport. They're 4-0, 1 game up on York at 3-1. Mount Pleasant then sits in 3rd place at 4-2. York will host Mount Pleasant this week on Monday. Cougars visit the Vikings on Tuesday. Section 4 of Class 3A, Seton LaSalle, they have a 2-game lead over Waynesburg Central and at least 3 games over everybody else in the section. So they're kind of threatening to run away and hide. The closest team to them is Waynesburg Central. Those 2 teams will meet this week. Seton LaSalle at Waynesburg Central on Monday. The 2 teams, Raiders and Rebels, meet in Brookline or at Brookline Park on Tuesday. All right, to Class 2A now. Fort Cherry and California remain perfect. Rangers at 6-0. The Trojans at 4-0. Next closest team is Chartiers Houston in 3rd place at 5-2. California, Fort Cherry has non-section games this week. California, their section series is against 1-5 Bentworth. Section 2 of Class 2A, Shenango on top, 1 game up on Neshannock, 2 games up on defending champion Freedom and Laurel. The Bulldogs are 4-2. The Spartans are 2-2. Freedom and Laurel fighting for 3rd place right now. Those 2 will meet in the section series beginning at Laurel on Monday. Section 3 of Class 2A, Our Lady of the Sacred Heart yet to lose at 4-0, 1 game up in the loss column on both Riverview and Southside. Those 2 teams, the Raiders and the Rams, collide this week in Hookstown on Monday, in Oakmont on Tuesday. All right, to Class A now, Section 1, Greensburg Central Catholic in 1st place at 4-0, 1 up in the loss column on Avella, 2 up on both Carmichael's and West Green. Greensburg Central Catholic and Carmichael's lock up in a section series this week, meeting in Greene County on Monday and Westmoreland County on Tuesday. Section 2, Western Beaver has built themselves a nice 2-game cushion. They are 6-0, 2 games up on Aquinas Academy, Leechburg, and Union. The Golden Beavers will collide with the Scotties this week in Beaver County on Monday and Lawrence County on Tuesday. And finally, Eden Christian Academy swept the section series from Sarah Catholic 2 weeks ago, swept a section series from Bishop Canevin this past week, and now their last big test in the section is Sewickley Academy, and that's the closest team to them right now. The Warriors are 4-0, the Panthers are 3-1, then Sarah 2-2, Bishop Canevin 3-3. Eden Christian Academy at Sewickley Academy on Monday. The 2 teams meet at Eden Christian Academy on Tuesday. So there you have it. A lot of big showdowns this week. Top 2 teams squaring off for 2 of 3 meeting. And again, now we start to find out we're at the midway point heading into the second half. Contenders, pretenders, make that separation. We'll start doing that this week, and then we'll be down to the stretch run, the final 2 weeks of the regular season after this week. So plenty of games. Check us out, not only the games, but also the recaps. Jonathan Bomboli does nobody better. Every night he gets the highlights, types them up, and has them on our website. A lot of people are appreciating it because it gets a lot of traffic, and rightly so. It's a breakdown of every game, baseball and softball, so, and others too, volleyball in there, lacrosse. So kudos to JB, doing a tremendous job every night. So check out the website, not only for games to watch, but also for the articles, the game recaps and stuff, and those each night, just a rundown of all the action from that particular day. It becomes critical as we get closer to the playoffs too, where, every game has, just about every game has meaning. All right, thanks to our producer, Chris Lackner. I'm Don Rebel. Thank you for joining us. Rebel Yell Podcast, Triple I High School Sports Network.